welcome Dr. Trevicia
Thank you. Thank
Williams.
you for having
Yes.
me. Absolutely.
Right.
Tell us about employment. I mean, so many people are looking for jobs today. And what's the first step that they should take in really seeking employment if they've recently lost their jobs?
Well, you know, the news on Wall Street and Main Street tells us that now is a time more than ever to prepare ourselves for success. And in our tough economy, the people in our economy require, energetic ways of getting ready. So I say it's very important that people be prepared, educate themselves, do their research for employers, and also do a personal assessment and learn about their strengths and weaknesses so that they can be better prepared to market themselves.
Yeah, far back.
Absolutely.
Highlight the important things that maybe happened in the last What would you say a resume should look like?
Relevancy is very crucial because employers don't have a lot of time. They look over resumes very quickly. So it's important to highlight the most recent and relevant experiences first. Highlight your passions and your work experiences as well as your credentials because there are people that have 20-year work histories. There are people that have 2-year work histories. And those with 2-year work histories are usually college grads or, students. And I always coach people and encourage them not to underestimate their experiences. They can use volunteer experiences. They can use experiences with professional organizations that they have gained, the activities there, to fill in gaps in their resume. That's another very important thing, is to fill in the gaps in the resume. Make sure that there's not extended periods of time where there is no explanation for working.
The thing that we've kind of been advised about, I have a 17-year-old daughter who will be getting ready to do some college applications shortly. Identify your passion and make sure your college or your place of future employment knows what that passion is. Make it look like, of course you need to be honest about it, but make it look like this is your heart's desire. This is the thing that sets me apart from everybody else. What are some, besides your passion, Trevicia, think of some other things that on an application or on a resume that would make you a standout and would help our viewers get a job?
Well, I think it's important to, again, highlight those, your skills and your talents that best serve you. Make sure that they fit with the job description of the application or the job that you are applying for.
So once you've applied for the job, you've given them a resume, what's the secret of giving a good interview when you go in to meet with the prospective employer?
Confidence. Be very, very confident. And you can be confident because you are sure of your skills, your talents, your assets, and you've done research on that company and you understand what they are requiring, what their history is, and you walk in with some questions that perhaps some of the other applicants have not asked, some of the things that are not salary related. That's all important to us, but it's also important that the employer understands that you care about the place that you are, seeking to work at.
So the research about the company is very important. Make sure that you match that job requirement too.
Absolutely.
And that would be what would give you the confidence. If you go into an interview and you know a little bit about your employer and a little bit about his company, you're going to be able to answer the questions correctly. You're going to be able to exude confidence, and you're going to be able to also show an interest in them. If they know that you have a passion for what they're doing, I think that's a great suggestion.
Absolutely.
Let's say you've been out of work for maybe 6 months or a year, and that's a difficult crisis time in your life. I mean, you lose some confidence, you lose a little bit of self-esteem. How do you build yourself up again when you go in to be positive and be confident?
Well, it's important. I tell people there's a few things that people can do, and I call it a personal survival strategy. And they can do that. They can create their own personal survival strategy by, first of all, not getting caught up in the blues of what has happened. Get busy instead of getting blue. Be assertive and be proactive when it comes to pursuing the next thing. And also realize that you're not stuck. Whatever has happened to you, you're not stuck in that situation. You've lost your job. You haven't lost your skills. You haven't lost your talents. You haven't lost your abilities. And that's important to focus on. It's important to focus on the things that you do have, the things that you can do, as opposed to the things that you don't have, because those things will empower you to move forward.
How did you figure out, Trevicia, what your skills and your abilities are? Because a lot of people, like Ken said, they're down in the dumps. They've lost their job. They've been without work for maybe 6 months or a year. They don't feel feel good about themselves. They don't think they have any strengths. Their bubble has been burst.
And that's
so what do you do?
Yeah, well, that's part of that, what I call a phase of transitioning from being unemployed or experiencing a loss and actually getting moving again. People go through a phase of denial. They can't believe it happened to them. And then they go through a phase of depression and anger. And what I really work with people to get them moving towards and get them the position I want them to be in is the position of acceptance. Yes, this happened to you. What do you do next? Develop a plan B, because things happen,
Favorite verse, Romans 8:28. All things work together for good.
Absolutely.
And even a loss of a job can be for good too, that you will take a different direction. How do you tell people to pray? I mean, does prayer come into being
absolutely.
in that?
I tell people as Christians, we have an edge on moving forward because that faith is that's half the work right there. It's just believing that things are going to be better, things are going to be different. Research shows that people that pray have better outcomes when it comes to any catastrophe or painful or experience or loss. So faith is a big factor in moving forward.
And recognizing God's hand, not only that he's going to get you through and get you to the next stage, maybe he even caused it to happen to get you out of what you were in.
Absolutely. Sometimes we don't realize that we're just stuck in a cycle of doing something that's really not working for us anymore, but we're seeing, and we just get caught up in that routine. And we never really get to, stop and think about who we really are, our self-worth, and what that really means to our next level. So it's an opportunity to realize your fullest potential, and it's an opportunity for advancement. You can turn adversities into advancement.
That's right. Let's talk about, just for a second, some hope. What are some great positive things that we can say about ourselves?
Well, I always tell people there's a wealth of assessment tools at energyilp.com and TreviciaWilliams.com. And in fact, for all the viewers that are watching today that want a free success profile, they can go to one of those websites, TreviciaWilliams.com or energyilp.com, and mention TV45, and they will get a free success profile. But again, it goes back to that personal survival strategy, understanding yourself and realizing that whatever situation you're in, you're not stuck. And by doing those things like not allowing yourself to wallow in self-pity, use that energy to push yourself forward and move beyond what's going on with you, and do that on a daily basis. Also, the importance of being proactive and assertive and moving from anger to assertiveness.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And if you're great on the computer, do something in that, in a technological kind of a field. If you're a horrible computer illiterate like I am, don't put yourself behind a computer or even look for a job that's in that area. I also think, Trevicia, teaching ability. Are we a giver? There are a multitude of lists.
It's very important that they do that assessment because it helps them market themselves better. So yes, absolutely, it does address the spiritual gifts and things that you're passionate about. I do a whole series on doing what you were born to do, because the research shows that 70% of employees are not satisfied with the jobs that they are doing. And the next thing that I get after I say that is that people say that, well, it's a tough economy. What do I do? And my response is, when you have to choose between security and happiness, usually security overrules. So, do what you have to do, but don't give up on pursuing what you're passionate about doing and doing what you were born to do, because you're not going to be happy otherwise.
That's right. And that assessment is so very, very important. And again, thank you so much for being here with us today and giving us those
Thank you for
hints.
having me. It's been a pleasure.